Hey everybody, welcome back out to the channel. Today we have an exciting episode. We're going to be taking a look at the Beretta 92 Compact, but it's from Langdon Tactical. It's all done up. It's got their RDO cut. It's got their trigger job. I'm super excited to review it. Let's get to shooting. So rather than our typical tabletop review to start things off, let's start off instead shooting it because, man, this thing is just too much fun to shoot. Such a smooth shooter. I could be doing better, but let's go over to the tabletop and talk about what we have here today. Super excited to show it off. All right, so let's just start taking a look at this amazing little pistol. As we can see from the labeling, this is a 92G Elite. So it's their Elite Compact. It's got a G series, meaning it's a decocker only. There is no safety on it. It's a double action, single action gun, and it has a decocker only, which means the real safety is keeping your finger off the trigger, pointing in a safe direction, and that long, slow trigger pull of the double action. This is a compact Beretta, which means that it's a 15 round. And I think originally they came with more like 13 rounds, but Beretta has released these 13 rounds. You can get flush fit, but they have this pinky extension, which makes them super nice. Again, nothing in the magazine, nothing in the chamber. And why would you go ahead and get something like this? Well, one, if you're familiar with the manual of arms for the 92, it's a double action, single action, which is a great and amazing gun for appendix carry or inside the waistband carry when you can keep track of the hammer and you know that this thing won't fire because the hammer is not moving. So you can see, let's take a look at that decock action. That's the decocker. All right, so when I am holstering this, I am having my finger on here, and I know that if that hammer starts to come back, there's something in the trigger of my holster, and as I'm putting it in, that's going to have a discharge. So when I'm loading this into my holster, I have my thumb on here, and as long as that hammer stays forward, there's no way this gun can go off. So a lot of people like double action, single action for concealed carry, and this is Beretta's 92 version of the concealed carry. You can see it has a very short, very compact-like, or even subcompact-like grip in it. You can tell it is pretty small. It's almost on the same lengthwise as my P365 because my finger is just starting to come off. If you have big hands, your hand will come right off of it. Of course, when you have this 15-round magazine in the gun, your fingers are just fine. And you've got that great little pinky extension. So we've talked about the 92, we've talked about the G version, we've talked about double action, single action, and we'll revisit that again in a little bit. But this is the LTT version, Langdon Tactical Technologies. And what Langdon Tactical has done is they've been able to perfect this age-old M9. The M9 was a service weapon from the 1980s until the 2010s, when it was eventually replaced with the SIG P320. This had an amazing service life in the Army, but this is not the military-issued version because it's going to be much better. Many of these versions that were issued in the Army and Marine Corps and other branches of the military had hundreds of thousands of rounds through them, had gunsmiths that did and didn't know what they were doing, had civilians that had users of it, enlisted men and women that knew and didn't know what they were doing and cared for it and didn't care for it. But this is the 92 done right, and man, is it done right. So let's go top to bottom and we'll see the improvements that they made on it. So number one, they have a optics cut on it. Now, that's not new for Beretta. Well, it was. They were the first ones to do it right. But what it is a very low cut. It does have a plate. And if you watch my channel, I don't like plate systems because they come off and tend to hit you in the head. But what you have here is a very low cut that's seating very low. I have on top of here the Hollow Sun EPS carry. You can see that is a really good fit for the width of the gun. And this plate system has a few different places, and I'll try to put on a picture of it because I took it out to the range and shot it before I ever put the dot on. And it's got several different staggered positions to keep this, 3 different places to keep this plate system locked down. I do not have the tactical or suppressor height sights on it, and they give you that option because with this Holosun, it sits really low and you can see those sights anyways. They're up high enough so that you can use those sights anyways. And of course with Langdon Tactical, one thing they do, and by the way, if you're looking, why does Trigger Bar have his name? One of the very first things that I did for one of my very first guns, as I was getting back into guns, one of the very first guns that I had was a Beretta 96, and I did the LTT trigger job in a bag, and that replaced many of the internal components with MPC coating components. Like these silver ones here, they're coated with a slick Teflon type coating that allows them to just be buttery smooth. Buttery smooth. So what do I mean by that? Let's just take a look at this. This is going to require 2 hands. So what do I mean by that buttery smooth? The slide function, as it's just rocking back, the first thing you'll notice when this goes back, that is just buttery smooth like a custom 1911. It is just, it's like it's on ball bearings. It's like it's just sliding across a perfectly smooth surface, right? So it's just super smooth. So that's one of the things that they do with it. But the other thing is really in their trigger. Let's take a look at this single action trigger. I'm going to try to hold it like this. It has a little bit of take up, very little bit of take up, and then boom, very crisp, very short. And I want to show this reset. So when you look at that reset, when I'm resetting this trigger right here, watch how little bit it comes back. Okay, I'm going to start bringing it back there. Like less than a millimeter or something like that. And then boom, you're on it again. Very short, very crisp. All of that can come in the trigger job in a bag from Langdon Tactical. But when they do it, I'm sure that they know what they're doing just a little bit better than what Trigger Bar knows what he's doing. It also comes with a bobless hammer. So this is really meant for concealed carrying. See, that hammer is smooth and there's nothing jutting out that's going to get in your way while you're carrying it. Man, this is just such a smooth and sweet operating firearm. So let's take a look at the double action. So that single action, I've tested it. It's right around 3 pounds. And then when we do this double action, it's right around 7 or 8 pounds. But it's just smooth the whole way. It doesn't feel that bad at all. It doesn't feel like it's an 8-pound trigger because it's just you're gliding. There's tension the whole way. Well, there's a tiny bit of take up right there. Tiny little take up, and then there's just a steady tension the whole way. Nothing changes in it. You don't hit this rolling wall. It's just a phenomenal trigger. Of course, the accents of the MPC up against this dark coatings and grip panels just make it even better. I believe they come with Vertex grips, and they're ultra thin versions, G10 ultra thin Vertex grips, which are very textured. It does have double texturing on the back here. See if we can see that right in here. And then it's got great texturing on the palm of that grip. All right, so enough about the form, function, and versions of this. Let's get to shooting just a little bit more. You saw that it's an extremely accurate pistol. As I started speeding up, sure, I started throwing rounds. That's Trigger Bar as I start to speed up, but it can just put holes in holes all day long as you do what you're supposed to do. So let's get to shooting just a little bit more, see how we can let it to rip. I probably already have about 250 rounds on this. For whatever reason, I didn't want to just start off. It was a little too special to me, so I didn't want to start off by reviewing this gun and do first shots. I will roll it. The very first magazine did have a little bit of a hiccup. After that, zero issues at all. About 250 rounds, like I said, through the pistol so far. So what I'm going to be doing is we're just going to be shooting just a little bit more. I do have some 147 grain ammunition. I have not tested in that. I've tested Underwood 98 grain, 68 grain plus P. That runs just fine. I've shot 124 grain Underwood jacketed hollow point plus P. That runs just fine. So all in all, very smooth shooter all in all functioning just well. So let's stop yapping trigger bar and let's get to shooting. Okay, so we are back at 25 yards, unrested, and we're just gonna see what we can do in shooting this. One of the great things about the compact size version is that you can use the full M9 or Beretta 92 FS magazines in it. It takes all the magazines. It's kind of like a Glock 19 takes all the, well, most of the Glock magazines. And so we're just gonna see how we can do in shooting a group freehand, and I'm gonna change my circle dot to a single dot just to see if I can get a little bit more precise. All right, looks like I was spraying it a little bit around the target. Again, this is unrested or unsupported. I think what we'll do is we'll do another round where I do shoot supported, and we'll see how it goes with that. Okay, we are rested at 25 yards, and we're gonna do our bit, see what this kind of thing, or this pistol can do with some accuracy. We just have some AAC 124 grain ammunition in it, so, you know, it's gonna be as accurate as that is. Boy, I really pulled that. Okay, well, as you can see, we had some spread with the shooting of that first 5-shot group. There were a couple right in there. I want to see if I can improve on that just a little bit, just because, you know, I think this gun is capable of it. Whether I or the ammo is, I don't know. Okay, well, let's go down, see what that is. Gun is clear. All right, that's more what I'm talking about. Again, I care about the group here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That little group is about 2 inches. It's not what the gun is capable of. Maybe it's a little bit of random. Of course, we're not shooting match ammo. We're shooting cheapo AAC 124 grain ammunition. I think that's pretty fantastic. Nice little group, 25 yards. Yes, it is bench rested. But for me, my capabilities, my ammunition, pretty happy about that. Okay, next up, we're only at about 12 or 13 yards down range. We do have a steel plate down there, and we're just gonna see how we can burn this thing down, shooting 147 grain bullets from AAC. Dang, such a fun gun. That little reset in that single action, it's just super fast, super cool. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Hey everybody, I hope everyone had as much fun watching the video as I did making it. This Beretta 92 compact elite version of the G series with the decocker from Langdon Tactical has been sort of on one of my bucket list guns. Super fun to have in my possession now. Hope everyone has enjoyed watching it. I think it's a great firearm. Maybe not for you. You may have other preferences. I happen to like the Beretta 92 platform. I've got the Cheetah, I've got the 96A1, and I've got this 92 Elite now. So I'm a big fan of the Beretta series, maybe because I'm a child of the 70s and the 80s, and this wind is going in, and I'm going to call it a day before my camera stand hits the ground one more time. Everyone have a great week, and let's get to shooting. G Series Elite from Langdon Tactical. Boom. Boom. This gun, while it's operating,